Success doesn't come easy. It never has, and it never will. It requires something deep within us, something stronger than talent, something greater than luck. It requires persistence, the kind of persistence that keeps going when everything says to stop, the kind that holds on when the rest of the world lets go. We live in a time where people want things fast. They want results overnight, success without struggle, rewards without work. But life doesn't work that way. Anything truly worthwhile takes time, effort, and an unshakable determination to keep moving forward. Think about the greatest achievements in history, the inventions that changed the world, the leaders who shaped nations, the individuals who stood against impossible odds. None of them woke up one day and had success handed to them. They faced obstacles, they endured failure, and they fought battles that seemed unwinnable. But they refused to quit. They refused to listen to the voices that said, "It's over." They refused to believe that failure was final. And that same strength, that same resilience is inside of you. Maybe right now, you're in a tough place. Maybe you've tried and you've failed. Maybe you've knocked on doors that wouldn't open and you've watched opportunities slip through your fingers. But let me tell you this, failure is not the end, it's a test. It's life asking you, how badly do you want it? You see, persistence isn't just about working hard when things are going well. It's about pushing through when nothing is working. It's about showing up when the world says give up. It's about believing that there is something greater ahead, even when you can't see it yet. Some of you have dreams buried deep inside of you, dreams you've given up on, dreams you've convinced yourself were impossible, but I'm here to tell you it's not over. As long as there is breath in your lungs, you have a reason to keep going. As long as you are still standing, there is still a way forward. The only way you fail is if you quit. Maybe you've been waiting for a breakthrough. Maybe you've been hoping for a sign, something to tell you it's all going to work out. Well, here's your sign. Keep going, keep moving, keep fighting. The road is not always easy, but the reward is always worth it. I'm reminded of a story, a simple yet powerful one. A man was digging for gold. He had spent months, years even, searching for that one breakthrough. But day after day, all he found was dirt. Finally, exhausted and discouraged, he gave up. He walked away. What he didn't know was that just 3 feet below where he stopped digging, the gold was waiting. 3 feet away from everything he had been working for. How many of us give up when we're 3 feet away? How many of us stop just before the breakthrough? If only we had pushed a little further, endured a little longer. My friend, you don't know how close you are. You don't know how near your breakthrough might be. So don't quit now. Don't let frustration talk you out of your destiny. Don't let a temporary failure make you believe it's permanent. The truth is, persistence isn't just about achieving success. It's about building the character that can sustain success. Because if you give up when it's hard, you won't be ready when it's great. If you quit when it's painful, you won't be strong enough when the reward comes. The struggle, the hardship, the moments that test you, they are shaping you into the person you need to be for what's ahead. So today I challenge you, when you feel like quitting, take one more step. When you want to throw in the towel, hold on a little longer. When the voices in your head say it's not worth it, remind yourself that nothing great ever came easy. One day you'll look back at the moments you wanted to give up and you'll be grateful you didn't. You'll see that every hardship, every setback, every moment of doubt was simply preparing you for something greater. And when that day comes, you'll stand tall, knowing that you made it. Not because it was easy, but because you refused to quit. Because the truth is, the only way you lose is if you stop. So don't stop. Not today, not ever. Failure. It's a word most people fear, a word that carries weight, disappointment, and sometimes even shame. But failure is not what we think it is. Failure is not a period at the end of your story. It's just a comma. It's not the end. It's a lesson, a detour, a necessary part of the journey to success. Every person who has ever done anything great has failed, some of them more times than they can count. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is not intelligence, not talent, not even luck. It's the willingness to see failure for what it truly is. A teacher, think back to when you were a child learning to walk. You stumbled, you fell, you scraped your knees. But you didn't stop. You didn't tell yourself, maybe walking just isn't for me. No, you got up and tried again. Because failure wasn't failure back then, it was just part of learning. And that's exactly how we need to see it now. Some of you have tried and failed, and because of that you've convinced yourself that maybe you're not good enough. Maybe it wasn't meant to be. Maybe you were wrong to dream so big. But I'm here to tell you that's a lie. The fact that you failed doesn't mean you're not capable. It means you're in the process of becoming. History is full of people who failed over and over before they finally broke through. But they didn't stop because they understood something most people never realize. Failure is feedback. It's life's way of refining us, sharpening us, preparing us. Every time you fall short, you learn something. Every time you hit a wall, you gain strength. Every mistake, every setback, every rejection is shaping you into the person who is ready for success. The problem is, too many people quit too soon. They take failure as a sign to stop when it's really a sign to keep going. They let one bad experience define their entire future. But listen to me. Failure is not a reflection of who you are. It's just a moment in time. It's only permanent if you let it be. Maybe you've started something, a business, a career, a relationship, and it didn't work out the way you planned. Maybe you poured your heart and soul into something and it fell apart. And now you're left with the question, what now? The answer is simple. Learn, grow, adjust, try again. Because here's the truth. Success is built on failure. Every time you fall, you are one step closer to getting it right. Every disappointment is training for what's ahead. The most successful people aren't the ones who never fail. They are the ones who refuse to let failure stop them. I know it's not easy. When you've given everything you've got, when you've pushed and prayed and worked and it still doesn't seem to be enough, it's easy to feel like giving up. But let me tell you something. The moment you want to quit the most is often the moment right before your breakthrough. So don't let failure fool you into thinking you finished. Don't let a bad chapter make you close the book. You may have fallen, but that doesn't mean you're out. You may have lost, but that doesn't mean you can't win. What matters isn't how many times you've failed. What matters is that you rise every single time. One day you'll look back and see that the very moments you thought were breaking you were actually building you. The failures you resented were the lessons that prepared you. And the disappointments you questioned were simply rerouting you to something greater than you ever imagined. So don't be afraid to fail. Be afraid of never trying. Be afraid of looking back and realizing you gave up when you were just one more attempt away. The only real failure in life is quitting, and that is something you were never meant to do. Fear and doubt, two things that have kept more people from reaching their potential than failure ever could. They whisper in your ear, telling you that you're not good enough, not smart enough, not strong enough. They convince you that it's safer to stay where you are, to not take the risk, to not step into the unknown. But let me tell you something. Fear is a liar. Doubt is a thief. And if you let them, they will rob you of the life you are meant to live. Every single person who has ever done anything great has faced fear. Every leader, every innovator, every person who has ever stepped out into the unknown has felt that voice telling them, you can't do this. But the difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't the absence of fear, it's the refusal to let fear make the decisions. Some of you have been waiting for fear to go away before you step forward. You've been waiting for doubt to disappear before you chase that dream, start that business, take that opportunity. But let me tell you the truth. You will never be completely fearless. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's moving forward in spite of it. Think about the first time you tried something new. Maybe it was standing up in front of a crowd to speak. Maybe it was starting a new job. Maybe it was stepping into an unfamiliar situation. Your hands were shaking, your heart was pounding, and that little voice inside said, "What if I fail?" But you did it anyway. And once you did, you realized something. Fear had no real power. It was just smoke and shadows, a story in your head that had no truth to it. Doubt works the same way. It tells you that you're not ready, that you don't have what it takes. But let me ask you, who told you that? Who told you that you weren't enough? Who made you believe that you weren't capable? Somewhere along the way, you adopted a lie as truth, and that lie has been holding you back ever since. But today it's time to let it go. You are stronger than you think. You are capable of more than you realize. The only thing standing between you and what you were created to do is the fear that you're not enough. But you are. You always have been, and it's time to start believing it. Some of you have dreams that have been buried under layers of fear and doubt. You've convinced yourself that it's too late, that you've made too many mistakes, that you don't have what it takes, but listen to me. Fear will always try to convince you that your best days are behind you, but that is a lie. Your best days are still ahead. There is more inside of you, more to do, more to give, more to become. But you have to be willing to take the first step. And that first step is always the hardest. Fear will scream at you. Doubt will try to pull you back. But if you take just one step forward, just one, something incredible happens. Fear loses its grip. Doubt starts to fade. And suddenly you realize that the only thing that was ever holding you back was the belief that you couldn't do it. So what if you fail? So what if it doesn't work out the way you planned? Failure is not the worst thing that can happen. The worst thing that can happen is that you let fear stop you from ever trying, because if you never try, you'll never know. You'll never know what could have been, what you could have accomplished, who you could have become. There is something inside of you that the world needs. A gift, a calling, a purpose that only you can fulfill. But you have to be willing to step out. You have to be willing to believe in yourself even when no one else does. You have to be willing to silence the fear, push past the doubt, and take that first step. Because at the end of the day, the greatest tragedy is not failing. It's never trying at all. So don't let fear win. Don't let doubt steal your future. Step forward and don't look back. There is something powerful about a story. Stories inspire us, remind us of what's possible, and show us that no matter how difficult the road may seem, victory is still within reach. Throughout history, time and time again, the people who have changed the world, the ones who have defied the odds, were not the strongest, not the wealthiest, not the most talented. They were the ones who refused to give up. There was a young man who grew up in poverty, working long hours to support his family. He had big dreams, but life seemed determined to beat him down. He faced failure after failure, losing jobs, businesses, and even elections. People told him he wasn't cut out for success. He could have listened. He could have accepted that maybe he wasn't meant to be great. But he didn't. He kept pushing forward, and one day, after years of struggle and setbacks, he became one of the greatest leaders the world has ever known. That man was Abraham Lincoln. What if he had given up? What if he had decided that the failures were too much, that the pain was too heavy? The world would have never known the leader he was meant to be. And the same is true for so many others. There was once a young girl who dreamed of changing the world. But life wasn't easy for her. She was told she wasn't good enough, that she didn't belong, that her dreams were impossible. She faced rejection over and over again, but instead of letting the world define her, she kept going. She fought through every obstacle, every barrier, every voice that told her she couldn't, and one day she did. She became one of the most influential figures of her time. What made these people different? What made them rise above their struggles? It wasn't that they never faced hardship. It wasn't that they never doubted themselves. It was that they refused to let failure be the end of their story. And that same spirit lives in you. Maybe life has thrown obstacles in your path. Maybe you've been told you're not good enough, that you don't have what it takes. Maybe you've started something and failed, and now you wonder if it's even worth trying again. But let me tell you something. Your story is not over. The setbacks you've faced, the disappointments you've endured, they are not signs that you should quit. They are simply part of the journey. Think about the stories that inspire you. Are they the stories of people who had an easy road? Are they the stories of those who never struggled, never doubted, never failed? No. The stories that move us, the stories that change us, are the stories of those who faced the fire and came out stronger. You have that same fire inside of you. You have that same strength, but you have to choose to use it. You have to decide that no matter how hard it gets, no matter how many times you fall, you will get back up. You will not let failure have the final say. Some of you have been waiting for a sign, waiting for something to tell you that it's time to keep going. Well, this is it. This is your moment. This is your reminder that you are not alone, that you are not forgotten, that your struggle is not in vain. The people who inspire us, the ones who leave a legacy, are not the ones who never struggled. They are the ones who never gave up. And one day, your story will inspire someone else. One day, someone will look at your life, your perseverance, your determination, and they will say, because they didn't give up, I won't either. So keep going, keep believing, keep pushing forward, because one day the story of your victory will be the reason someone else refuses to quit. Life has a way of testing us. It will push us, shake us, and sometimes bring us to our knees. There will be moments when it feels like everything is working against you, like every door is shutting in your face, and every effort you make seems to fall apart. It's in those moments that most people give up. It's in those moments that people convince themselves it's just not meant to be. But the truth is, the struggle is not there to stop you. It's there to strengthen you. Some of the greatest victories in life come right after the hardest battles. Some of the greatest breakthroughs happen when you refuse to back down, when you refuse to let the pressure break you. You see, strength isn't built in comfort. It's not developed when everything is going your way. Strength is forged in adversity. It is created in the fire of hardship, in the moments when quitting seems like the easiest option. Maybe you've been fighting for something for a long time. Maybe you've been pushing forward, giving everything you have, and you're starting to feel tired. You wonder if it's worth it. You wonder if things will ever change. But listen to me. This is the moment that matters the most. This is the point where champions are made. It's easy to stay committed when everything is going well. It's easy to be strong when the road is smooth. But real strength, the kind that lasts, is built when you keep going even when every part of you wants to stop. When you dig deep, when you push past the pain, when you silence every doubt and take another step forward, that is when you become unstoppable. Think about the trees that stand through the fiercest storms. The winds beat against them, the rain pounds down, but they don't fall. Why? Because their roots are deep, because they have learned to withstand the storm. And just like those trees, you are being strengthened through the challenges you face. Every difficulty, every setback, every hardship is preparing you for something greater. Some of you have been through storms that no one else knows about. You've had nights where you cried yourself to sleep. You've had moments where you felt completely alone, wondering if anyone even sees the fight you're in. But let me tell you something. Your struggle is not unnoticed. Your pain is not wasted. Every moment of endurance, every time you choose to keep going instead of giving up, you are growing into the person you were meant to be. The truth is, no one becomes great without struggle. No one achieves their dreams without sacrifice. And no one reaches the mountaintop without first walking through the valley. But if you keep moving forward, if you refuse to let the struggle define you, you will come out stronger, wiser, and more powerful than you ever imagined. The ones who rise, the ones who overcome, are the ones who look at the challenges and say, "This will not break me. This will make me better." So don't be discouraged by the struggle. Don't let it convince you that you're not capable. Instead, recognize that it is shaping you, molding you, and preparing you for something greater than you can see right now. One day, you'll look back and realize that the very thing you thought was meant to destroy you was actually the thing that built you into who you were always meant to be. So stand firm, keep going, and no matter what comes against you, refuse to be defeated. There comes a time when you have to decide, will you let life push you around, or will you stand up and take control of your destiny? Too many people go through life reacting to circumstances, waiting for things to change, hoping that someday, somehow, everything will work out. But the truth is, change doesn't come to those who wait. It comes to those who refuse to accept defeat, to those who choose to take action no matter how hard the road may be. You have to make up your mind that quitting is not an option, that no matter what obstacles come your way, no matter how many times you get knocked down, you will get back up. Because the only way to fail is to stop trying. As long as you keep moving forward, as long as you refuse to surrender, you are still in the fight. And if you are still in the fight, then victory is still possible. Think about the people who inspire you, those who overcame incredible odds, those who defied expectations, those who achieved things no one thought possible. They were not born different from you. They did not have some secret advantage that made them immune to struggle. The only difference between them and everyone else is that they refused to give up. They made a decision that no matter how hard it got, they would keep going, and that is the same decision you have to make. There will always be reasons to quit. There will always be voices telling you that it's too hard, that it's not worth it, that you're not capable. But those voices are lies. Because within you is a strength greater than any obstacle. Within you is a power that refuses to be broken. And if you hold on, if you keep pressing forward, you will see that the challenges you face are not there to stop you. They are there to prove to you just how strong you really are. Some of you have been on the verge of giving up. You've tried and failed. You've struggled and suffered. And you've started to believe that maybe it's just not meant to be. But let me tell you, the moment you feel like quitting is often the moment right before the breakthrough. The darkest night comes just before the dawn. And the struggle you are facing right now is preparing you for something greater than you can even imagine. You may not see the progress immediately. You may not feel like anything is changing. But every step forward, no matter how small, is bringing you closer to the life you were meant to live. Every challenge you overcome, every hardship you endure is making you stronger, wiser, and more prepared for the future that awaits you. So, don't stop now. Don't let frustration or disappointment steal your destiny. The road may be long, but it is leading somewhere worth going. And when you finally reach that place, when you finally see the rewards of your perseverance, you will look back and realize that every struggle, every tear, every battle was worth it. No matter how hard it gets, no matter how many times you fall, no matter what the world throws at you, never give up.